All right, so I am back. Just spent the last couple of days moving apartments. Was an absolute nightmare. Definitely don't recommend that you move apartments by yourself, especially. It was extremely expensive, extremely difficult, and just not a fun thing to do. Okay, so with that being said, we got a new place, new location, new me, new subscribers to the channel, and some new depressing information on the one, the only Senator Dianne Feinstein, who, as we have been covering over the last couple of months, has been suffering from numerous different ailments like shingles and another one that apparently she didn't disclose that we're going to get to here in a second, as well as obvious dementia. Okay, we covered all of the different stories, her mixing up, the names of people who she's known for 15 plus years, not being able to actually do her job in the Senate, and in the meantime holding up all of these potential judicial nominees that have a huge impact in the politics broadly across the country. So many different examples, right? Not remembering that she had announced her retirement. And we got some new information here in terms of why this might be happening right now. Because again, as I've said on this channel, I honestly don't think that she is mentally capable at this point of actually making the choice to resign. I don't think that she's aware really of what's going on around her. And so we get a little bit more information here about what may be going on behind the scenes. Because obviously all it would take for her to resign would be somebody like Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi just coming out and in a polite way maybe just coming out and suggesting that maybe she should actually resign, or maybe talking to her behind the scenes and trying to push for that. But they are doing the exact opposite of that and trying to prop her up, basically Weekend at Bernie's style. And we get some information here in terms of why that might actually be happening. So first off here from Jordan Ewell. He says Politico is reporting that a member of the Pelosi family is helping to prop up Feinstein because doing so would help Adam Schiff's chances of replacing her over Barbara Lee. Okay, so what's happening here is because Dianne Feinstein is retiring in a couple of years, her Senate seat is going to be open, and we have a couple different candidates that have declared. We have like Katie Porter, Barbara Lee, Adam Schiff. They've all declared for it. Now, the difficult part of this, I guess, from the position of more corporate Democrats like Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff, is that Gavin Newsom has already come out and publicly said that if Dianne Feinstein was to resign early, since he would get to pick her temporary replacement, he would nominate a black woman, and that would be Barbara Lee, right? And so the difficulty here is that Nancy Pelosi doesn't want Barbara Lee to be in this position, and so she doesn't want Dianne Feinstein to retire. And apparently she's even using her own family members to sort of like hover over Dianne Feinstein as this entire process is playing out. So a little bit of information on that. They say here, Nancy Corinne Prouda, who is one of Nancy Pelosi's eldest children, okay, has recently assumed a central role in Dianne Feinstein's life. Playbook has learned, as the 89-year-old has dealt with the absence of her deceased husband, the departure of trusted staffers, a nasty case of shingles, and spiraling concerns about her fitness for office. Not only did Prouda escort Feinstein around the Capitol Hill last week, she was again at her side yesterday, helping aides surround the senator in a Capitol hallway as a reporter tried to speak with her. Now, this is, again, the same tactics that they've been using for months and months and months. Her staff's job at this point is basically to try to just cover up the fact that she has dementia, right? She can't sit down and have an extended conversation with a reporter without saying some absolutely insane shit. And I even saw one person posted on Twitter, which I think is an absolutely great idea. I would love for one of these reporters to just go up and ask Dianne Feinstein some basic questions like, hey, what year is it right now, right? Or, some other basic questions like that. I mean, again, I talked about this in a previous video. What would happen if Dianne Feinstein was forced to sit down and just do like a 30-minute, even a 15-minute interview with a reputable journalist who asks pressing questions? I mean, there's a 0% chance she would be able to answer those in a coherent way. She doesn't know what's going on, and so basically the job of her staff is just to surround her and protect her from any accountability in this circumstance. I mean, this is a senator from the largest state in the country. Okay, she represents nearly 40 million people from California, and she's just not capable of doing anything, not capable of answering questions, not capable of interacting with her colleagues, not capable of going and actually doing her job. But they finish off here. They say multiple people familiar with the arrangement say that it's only the most visible part of a quiet but crucial role that the Pelosi family has played in helping to take care of the ailing senator, both in Washington and San Francisco. Now, you could look at that and say, okay, they're probably longtime friends. Maybe Nancy Pelosi just cares about Dianne Feinstein and she just wants to help a friend out. Well, if you actually gave a shit about Dianne Feinstein and her health or well-being, you wouldn't be propping her up, would you? You would be telling her to go retire and then go to some whatever beach house or lake house that she owns. You know, she's worth $200 million. She can go get whatever she wants and just relax, okay? Go take a nap, all right? You don't need to be trying to wheel yourself in this, frailed state into the Capitol, okay, to try to go and half-ass do these votes and run through the daily motions, okay? That's what you would be doing if you actually cared about her. So obviously, I mean, there's got to be something else going on here, right? I mean, you have your own family that's sort of like hovering over her, around her. You have Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, these Democrats that aren't willing to come out and actually speak the truth about the situation. And then on top of that, we've gotten some other new details about some potential other illnesses that she had that apparently she wasn't open about. So just a little bit on this from the New York Times. They say Mrs. Feinstein's frail appearance was a result of several complications after she was hospitalized for shingles in February, some of which she has not publicly disclosed. The shingles spread to her face and neck, causing vision and balance impairments and facial paralysis known as Ramsay-Hunt syndrome. The virus also brought on a previously unreported case of encephalitis, a rare but potentially debilitating complication of shingles, according to two people familiar with the senator's diagnosis who spoke on the condition of anonymity. They say characterized by the swelling of the brain, post-shingles encephalitis can leave patients with lasting memory or language problems, which she already had before the shingles, okay? So just making that even worse. As in addition to sleep disorders, bouts of confusion, mood disorders, headaches, and difficulties walking. They say older patients tend to have the most trouble recovering. She's 89 years old. She's older than the Golden Gate Bridge, remember? And even before this latest illness, Miss Feinstein had already suffered substantial memory issues that had raised questions about her mental capacity. I mean, again, how is her family allowing this to happen? All right, I've talked about this before. I've had multiple grandparents who have had dementia, who have had Alzheimer's, okay? It's a terrible thing, right? It's something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. But if I saw my family member going through that, I wouldn't allow them to continue doing this job, especially not at 89 years old. I mean, I remember when my grandpa got to the point with his mental state that we had to prevent him from driving, okay? Because he would just veer off on the wrong side of the road sometimes and, couldn't actually drive in a way that was safe for himself and other people who were on the road, right? So I remember that, and that was when he was like, I don't know, in his like mid-70s, early 70s or something, okay? And we're talking about an 89-year-old who is a senator. I mean, it's really depressing. And honestly, again, I mean, like, what is your family thinking, allowing you to push forward with this? For what? I mean, what is she even getting out of this at this point? But another bit of information here, which was also, just adding on top of the other stories that we have gotten in terms of what her mental state actually is at this point. So here from the San Francisco Gate, they say reporter details concerning conversation with Dianne Feinstein. So just a little bit on this. They say, her illness aside, questions about her mental faculties have abounded in recent years, and the interaction that Newell, this reporter, reported having with her on Tuesday is probably the most striking account yet. Newell said that he was waiting outside an elevator that Feinstein exited and took the opportunity to ask her some questions. He said that she was in a wheelchair and was flanked by staffers. He opened by asking her how she was feeling. She says, "Oh, I'm feeling fine. I have a problem with the leg," she reported to Newell. And when another reporter waiting nearby asked her what was wrong with her leg, Feinstein responded by saying, "Well, nothing that's anyone's concern but mine." What? You're the one who just brought that up, like the previous question before that. Now it's nobody's business that you had a problem with your leg. Why did you say it then? They say, then came the most notable part about this conversation. Newell recounted that when the other reporter asked Feinstein how her return to Washington had been received among her Capitol colleagues, she seemed to deny being gone. She denied being gone. She says, "No, I haven't been gone," she reportedly said, before adding, "You should follow the 'I haven't been gone, I've been working.'" Newell said Feinstein turned feisty when she was asked to clarify whether she meant that she had been working from home. Her office had maintained that she was receiving updates about Senate business when she was recuperating in San Francisco. Okay, first of all, receiving updates about what's going on in the Senate is not the same as showing up and taking votes and actually doing your job, okay? But she said, quote, and it doesn't even seem like that's what they were referencing. She says, quote, "No, I've been here. I've been voting," she reportedly said. "Please, you either know or don't know." So, I mean, this is pretty unambiguous, right? She seems to not be aware that she's been gone for 3 months not taking these votes. She says, "No, I've been here. I've been voting." Okay? Now, they finish off here. They say it's possible that she meant that she's been voting since she returned to the Senate last week. That's not what she meant. But according to her own Senate website, she missed 95 out of 102 votes between February 26th, the day that she was diagnosed with shingles, and Tuesday. 95 out of 102. That's a rate of what, like 93%, 94% votes missed? Okay, they say reached by San Francisco Gate with a request for clarification on the senator's comments. Feinstein spokesperson Adam Russell said, "We will let you know if she decides to comment." Okay, and what they really mean by that is that one of our staffers will maybe not get back to you with a response because Dianne Feinstein is not capable of giving a response to that question because she doesn't know what the fuck is going on around her. Okay, I mean, again, I'm not trying to play light about this. If this was just some random citizen, you know, obviously I would have sympathy for them. I would feel bad for them. It's a terrible thing to watch people get old like this and to have to go through these kinds of ailments. You are a senator. You are a public representative. It is your job to represent the largest state in the country. There's no two ways about this. If you cannot do your job, okay, then you have to resign. It's that simple. And you have all of these people who are around her, people on her staff, okay, who recently Ken Klippenstein actually, you know, posted all of their names on Twitter in an effort to sort of like shame them because of them helping to cover up in this process. I think he was right to do that, honestly. And in addition to the staffers, you have people like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi who are not only not coming out and honestly talking about the situation, but are actively trying to aid and abet the cover-up that is wide out in the open. I mean, it's not as if they're doing a good job at pretending as if she's competent. I mean, this was one of the most ridiculous parts when she was out with shingles. You know, all of these Democrats were coming out and they're like, oh, you know, like, you know, she says she's going to get better from the shingles. She's going to heal from that, and she's going to come back. And it's like, okay, regardless of the shingles, which now apparently includes encephalitis, which will increase the problems from her other illnesses. But, you know, even if you recover from the shingles, you're not recovering from the dementia, okay? That's not something you could heal in the best case scenario. And you are 89 years old and have all of these other complicating factors. So, like, at this point, what are we talking about? I mean, are we really going to play this game? She has over a year left in her term. Over a year. We're supposed to play this game for more than a year because what? Because Nancy Pelosi and other corporate Democrats don't want Barbara Lee to be the replacement senator picked by Gavin Newsom? I mean, that's what we're talking about. This is how American politics works. I mean, you have all of these, like, these geriatric fucks at the top of our government who are trying desperately to cling onto power when they are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. They've spent their careers propping up corporate America and, you know, doing insider trading to profit for themselves, and they just refuse to resign. I mean, this is something you could apply to Dianne Feinstein. You could apply it to probably Joe Biden, who also has been suffering from mental decline. You could apply it to Mitch McConnell. You could apply it to Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. The average age of these people, okay, of the leaders of each political party, all right, at the tops of both parties, including Trump, including the rest of them, the average age is like what? Like 75? I mean, what are we talking about here? This entire situation is just absolutely ridiculous.
Everyone is saying good politic guy has the best politic. Believe me, no one does it like him. Believe me, everyone is saying